Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
Hello, welcome to the Popternative podcast, the podcast and talk show where we have digital discussions from the worlds of TV, film, pop culture, social media, sports, everything really, depending on the guests. We talk about it all. As always, I'm your host, Peter Remoliotis. On social media, you know me as PD Beats. If you subscribe to our channel for a while, you might notice that we have a thing involving interviewing amazing cast members from a show on DC Universe and CW called Stargirl. And we have another interview coming at you right now. You will recognize her as the Fiddler. We're with Hina X. Hina, welcome to Popternative.
Thank you. I am so happy to be here. I love how excited you are.
It's just like, it's funny because sometimes like the different time zones, I'll do an interview where it's very early in the morning for the guest or vice versa. And then I feel like I'm just kind of like, oh, welcome to Popternative. And they're just like they're like caught off guard. You know what I mean?
They're not awake yet.
That happens sometimes. But yeah, thank you so much for doing this. I mean, your character as the Fiddler, you know, well, everyone, you know, all the villains, you know what I mean? Like the villains, the superheroes, JSA, like Justice Society, like everyone is just so amazing. And it seems like everyone has become like a family because of this too. Like everyone's kind of like close after the show, which is also awesome to see.
Yeah, I think when you talk to ensemble casts, they always say that they have a great cast and they love each other. I don't know if they're being honest, but truly we all love each other. And you can tell that because even after wrapping, we still stay in touch and like hang out pre-coronavirus. So we got very lucky with all the actors that are on this show.
Absolutely. And we'll get to Stargirl shortly. But before that, I kind of wanted to get to know you a little bit more in terms of your storytelling and your acting background. When did Hina X decide that storytelling and acting was something you wanted to do?
Oh, wow. Well, I distinctly remember being maybe 7 or 8 years old and watching TV and having the thought that if I was an actor, I didn't have to choose one profession. Like I could play all kinds of professions. And so I remember that being in my head. My parents are immigrants and they moved to this country as adults. They didn't grow up here. So for them, in their mind, their children should be lawyers and doctors and engineers. You know, that's what success looked like in their mind. So at a very young age, that's what was being put in my head. And I just remember thinking, well, why do I have to pick one? I can be an actor and do all of them. So I do remember thinking that. That's not the path that life took me on. So initially it just wasn't culturally okay for my family for me to pursue that, despite my showing an interest in it. So I had another life where I studied economics and I graduated and I worked in finance.
Wow.
So yeah. And I think I watched I think Neil Jackson and maybe Joy also had similar paths where it wasn't a direct path into acting. And I find it really interesting when that happens. You, for whatever reason, whether you couldn't, in my case, you know, familial and cultural reasons, it wasn't something that was acceptable. But eventually I found my way. I just realized I wasn't happy
I feel like this could be like a movie or like a memoir or something. I think you're onto something here.
I'll start writing it if you'll read it.
Absolutely. So, your character on Stargirl, the Fiddler. We're going to get into the character of the Fiddler. But before that, I would like to ask you a question. Did you play instruments growing up?
I did not. I actually...
Wow. Well.
Yeah. I did not. My parents wanted me to play the violin. It's sort of a very,
Really?
Asian, South Asian thing. They wanted me to do that, and I had trouble reading the music, embarrassingly.
But no, I know
Which,
no
which
love for the fiddle,
later-
right?
yeah, and later I found that a lot of singers or musicians don't necessarily know how to read music.
I played
So-
drums. That's how I got PD Beats, because I played drums. I don't know how to read
Oh,
music.
And you don't know how to, yes, I didn't know that at first. And then I realized there's a lot of people that are musically inclined, but don't actually know how to read music. So I think I got discouraged at an early age. I was like, I don't understand these symbols.
For sure. And your character plays some music and is the fiddler, and I feel like it's pretty cool that your character is like based on like a comic book character. Like that's pretty cool that you get to play that.
It's very cool, and it's very cool that it's done a gender swap.
I was hoping you were going to say that. I threw a fastball down the middle and you hit it out of the park.
I love that they did that. I love that they took this character who I didn't know much about until I booked the part, and then reading the history and the origin of this character was a white guy who made his way to India and, got thrown in jail, and then learned to play and learned to hypnotize people with music. And the fact that they took that and did a whole switcheroo on it and turned it into a female character of South Asian descent. Like, I really appreciate that,
I was going to mention that because in the comics, he is a male. So I was gonna mention that for sure, but that's perfect. So am I the only one that finds it ironic? Because people growing up, the principal at the school was always seen as the villain,
right? Especially if you were getting into trouble a lot,
exactly.
Right?
And you are like, it's just kind of double trouble there, right? Like you're like the super villain and in real life, like your profession, and then at night you're the fiddler.
Right. The principal is not someone that anybody really wants to hang out with. No, either way, even if the principal wasn't a villain, you don't really want to hang out with the principal.
So I find that kind of like interesting, right? Like it brings like a different dynamic, like an interesting dynamic to your character as well, right? Because there's a lot of other characters, like Neil Jackson's character, who's this businessman and doing all these things, and it's just like, and then he's a supervillain. But it's like your profession is like associated with being a villain.
Yes, but I think the things that a lot of the backstory that isn't told or revealed. The ISA, when they got to Blue Valley, did they have these roles initially? Was Anaya an educator, or was she not? And was it, hey, we're taking over Blue Valley, you're going to be the principal. So you're going to be in a position where you can influence young minds. Yeah. So there's just a lot that we don't really know.
Because I feel like that's the thing. Like I've done like my interviews. Like I've interviewed, you're like my 12th interview of the Stargirl cast, and I don't really get into theories a lot. Because there's so many fan theories and people have ideas, and it's awesome to see them. But I think you're gonna see, and you don't have to answer this. You could just literally be like, cool, like that's a cool theory. But like there will be like a jump. Like someone like good is gonna become bad. Someone bad is gonna become good. There's like 5 or 6 characters that can happen next episode.
I can say that I have absolutely no idea, so I can sit and have a theory along with you. I think you're right. I mean, why wouldn't? Like that would be the way to go.
Do you want me to tell you my 3?
Yes.
Do you want to hear my 3?
Let's do it. Let's brainstorm.
My first one, you're going to be like, ooh, because it's very interesting.
Okay.
Mike.
Okay.
Right? Like,
where is he going? No, I'm finished. Finish your thought.
I just feel like he's like, you see him kind of help out with like, like the drill and everything. But you know what? Like there was like this I guess my theory doesn't work because the last episode that just happened, because like you really now see him kind of like helping out his dad and helping out everyone, but I just feel like he was getting left out a little bit.
Absolutely.
And he was getting upset. And he's
Yes.
a kid, and sometimes kids make decisions that they regret, and maybe someone like Jordan could have persuaded. You know what I mean? That's how I kind of looked at it.
Yeah, I think that could totally happen.
Cameron, played by Hunter Sansoni, is my second one. Even though you see him very like kind of very like he loves his dad. He knows there's something going on. I could definitely see him helping out Court. Spoiler alert, but Jake Austin Walker, like I didn't really see that coming, to be honest with you. That wasn't one of my three, which I feel like made it more exciting. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You didn't see what coming? How
he was gonna turn like he was
that he was going to be good.
Yeah.
Well, I think one of the things that's really interesting in the way they've set this up is that the kids initially don't know what their parents really are and who their parents really are. And so once they find out and once they discover that, then I think that starts to affect the path that they go down.
And you were my third. I think the Fiddler, because of your academic and educational structure, I feel like there kind of would have been like this is for the kids. We need to help the kids type thing. But that's kind of a stretch. But I don't know. Do you know where I'm coming from a little bit?
Yeah, because you can see in the last couple of episodes, Naya and Tigress are definitely not seeing eye to eye on recruiting the kids and having the kids as part of, this fight. Yes. So already that was part of the friction that Naya was maybe starting to at least have second thoughts about putting her own child in danger. Absolutely. Whereas some of the villains, clearly Brainwave, for example, don't care.
No. And he was not one of my three. This is exciting. Like you're the first cast member I went deep into theories with. I did a Instagram live with Trey Romano, and we talked a little bit about it. But this was interesting. Do you see where I'm coming from with some of my theories?
Oh, absolutely. I've been teasing Neil Hopkins and Joy that what if little Isaac, Anaya's Isaac, right? Mm-hmm. And Artemis fall in love, and it's a Romeo and Juliet thing.
Damn, I didn't even think of that.
What if they end up together as a couple, and then we'll be in-laws? So what are you gonna do then? So,
oh man, I didn't even think about that. When you shot the show, was it a week per episode? What was the process? There's 13 episodes. What was the process filming? How long did it take to film one episode?
Yeah, each episode was about a week, 8 days.
So pretty much every week you guys were making a movie, right?
Yeah.
If you think about it, how amazing does it look, right?
Pretty much. I was, I think the other cast members have probably said the same thing. You just don't know when you're filming. You just don't know what it's going to look like at the end. And you hope it's going to look great, and you hope that it's well received. But so much of it is done in post and in editing, which, those people are amazing at what they do. But you're not privy to that. Once you're done as an actor, you're done. And then you just keep your fingers crossed and you pray, and you're like, let me see this thing. You're sort of blind to what it's going to look like. And when it came out, I think we were all blown away. We were like, this looks amazing.
Neil Jackson was one of my first interviews that he was saying, he's like, I blew my mind. He said, just seeing it, especially the first 10 minutes of episode 1. Damn.
Right. Yes, absolutely. We were just amazed at it. And
but
people
it was
love it.
But it was also oh yeah, the fandom for this is awesome.
It's so sweet and supportive, and it's just amazing how much people love it. Which Absolutely. It's interesting to me because it's so different than some of the other DC shows, right? Some of the other ones are just darker.
Yep.
Whereas this is so much lighter and kind of family friendly. And so I think that was one of the things that we weren't quite sure about when we were filming. We were like, well, how does this fit into like a Titans or Doom Patrol, where it's just darker.
Absolutely.
And it still, like, it works.
But it just looks so good, Hina. Like, it just looks, it's just, it's
I'm
like
so glad you like it.
But it's
so
a
much.
movie. Like, it literally is like a movie. Like, the production of it is crazy.
It is amazing.
And I think it's Jeff's, like, I think that is just testament to his vision with it, right?
Absolutely.
Like, what he wants to do. Now, I do want to ask a non-Stargirl question to end the interview, if that's cool.
Of course.
Now, we mentioned it before the preamble, there is another Hina Khan, and that's why you put the X, which I find is very interesting. I believe you did an episode of a horror TV show.
Creepshow? Have you seen it?
I have not seen your episode, but I've seen it.
Okay.
I'm a huge horror movie fan.
Okay.
Like, huge.
Okay.
And I just want to know, what was it like working on a show like that?
It was the most fun ever. The most fun.
What episode are you in?
So I'm in episode 6.
Some of them were kind of like, they're like, if you're not familiar with the old Creepshows and gore and all that, like, it might be tough for you to watch.
Yeah, it's very campy. Yeah. I'll say that. And so you just have to, you're familiar with it. You just have to know. Your expectations have to be set, right?
But there's some amazing people that are in it, because it's anthology. Yes. But like, and I've interviewed a lot of cool people from it. Shout out to Chad Michael Collins from Sniper Movies.
He and I were in the same episode.
Absolutely. So that I've not seen that episode.
Okay,
yet.
you have to watch that episode.
Sorry, Chad.
He is great in it. Yeah, that's where I met.
Is Chad. Melissa Santamond in that episode too?
Yes. You know everyone.
I'm sorry, Melissa Santamond. I haven't seen it yet. Okay, I gotta go watch it.
You gotta go watch it.
I also interviewed Logan Allen, who's on a show called Sweet Magnolias. And he's in an episode. I think he's in like episode 1 or 2. It was like very early on.
One. Yeah.
But then I'm pretty sure I saw that there, like, I was looking at the cast, like, there's some cool people here.
There are.
And here's my question. I find it interesting because I truly believe you work on a project, right? Like, you worked on Stargirl, right? And say, for example, you have another project coming out, like another movie, right? I feel like it's important, even if it's not like the same genre, like it might be like a rom-com film, right? I feel like it's still cool and it kind of helps, and it is like a marketing tool to be like, you might recognize Hina as the Fiddler in Stargirl.
Sure. And it's also that it's so different that as an actor, that's so fun. Creepshow, the experience was so different, and it was, like you said, so gory. So I won't give too much of it away, but there's all this blood and guts and all this stuff. And I thought that was the most fun part. I was like, more, and give me more.
How many total episodes are there?
There's only 6.
So so I've watched like I have 2 more because I've watched 4. So I've got 2 more.
You have 2 more to go.
I'm gonna do it tonight probably.
Yeah, but you might not recognize me at first.
Don't spoil anything.
I won't look like this. I'll just say that. So in the beginning, you might be like, "Wait, which one is she?"
I'm just really, I just love horror. Like most movies I watch now are horror movies because I just love where the genre headed. Like, I just feel like, don't get me wrong, the campy, the gore, I mean, like, there's some traditional horror films that, you know, has made them successful because of that and everything. But
yeah,
there's different things out there right now, Hina, that can scare people. You don't need the jump scare or like the gore. There's like psychological horror.
Right.
There's like people show up to a dinner party and someone's acting weird and it's like, what are you doing?
Which arguably could be scarier, you know, because it's sort of the campy, gory stuff is almost slapstick.
Yeah, and
but the psychological stuff, that's on another level.
And I think it was pretty cool because, you know, I did the interview with Logan Allen, and he's, you know, promoting Sweet Magnolias on Netflix, which, you know, got renewed for season 2 and is, you know, very popular and everything. But I was like stoked to talk to him about Creepshow
Yeah.
So it's like, and it's the same thing with Giles Matty, who is in. Are you a fan of the genre? Like, do you like horror?
I watched a lot more of it when I was younger. And I think now I haven't continued to, but I didn't know Creepshow when it first came out because it was a show and then it was also a movie. They also made a movie out of it. So I didn't know Creepshow, but I'm a big fan of what they've done with it. They've rebooted it, and I watched a couple of episodes of the first one to sort of prep. But Greg Nicotero was one of the executive producers on it from The Walking Dead. I mean, these are guys that
This is like Mecca television. This is good stuff.
They have been doing this for so long, and they are so good at what they do that for me, regardless of the genre that I'm playing in, when you're surrounded by people that are that passionate and that are that good, it's just a joy. It's a joy to be a part of it.
No, absolutely. And I just wanted to say quickly that there's a movie, and it's kind of what I said about, like you've done this, like you've done Stargirl, but it's like, oh, cool, like you've also done Creepshow, you know what I mean? So Giles Matty, who I recently launched an interview with him, he's in this like independent horror film called 1BR, One Bedroom, which is awesome, very low budget, amazing. And he thought it was pretty cool because like he's been like reoccurring on like some of the biggest shows, like Once Upon a Time, True Blood, and 24 Live for Tomorrow, I think it was the one that took place in London.
Okay.
And I wanted to talk to him about this, small indie movie he made. So he thought that was pretty cool, right? Because usually people want to talk to him about True Blood, you know what I mean, or something like that.
Right. And sometimes those small indie projects are the most satisfying and the most fun. They're great. So I love that you do your research.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's just passion. I love that. I love that stuff. Thank you so much for coming.
You've been so great.
Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. I love how enthusiastic you are, and it's truly astounding seeing the support from people for this show. It's really touching.
But thank you. It's amazing. And so people can follow you on social media.
Yes.
But they need to not forget the middle thing.
Yeah, so it's Hina X Con. There's a little X in the middle.
And you know what? I think there's one more episode left.
There's one more episode left. And there's one more episode, and then there's season 2. So
which is awesome.
Once this episode, the finale airs, then I think there will be all kinds of theories of what is going to happen.
I can't wait. It's just like, I was a big fan of The Flash, but because there's so many superhero shows, so it's sometimes hard to keep track and like watch them all. But like I interviewed Neil, and I watched like the first 2 episodes, and I was like hooked immediately. I'm like, this show is sweet, and I need to interview more people from it. So thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. And congrats to you and the cast on the success and on season 2. It's amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate your support, and I hope that you keep watching next season too.
Absolutely. Well, this has been Popternative, youtube.com/Popternative for previous episodes. Until next time, this is Hina Khan and PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.